Hello, welcome to this third podcast. This is to pass on information which we gave out to employers who could attend our Employers Information Day in Reading on the 17th of January. My name's Jo Dyson. I'm the Director in Reading with main responsibility for delivering apprenticeships. And this third podcast is really to let you know how First Intuition can work with you. This is an area that's fraught with confusion, complicated rules, and what we want to do is try and make that a little bit simpler, but also to try and design a program that best suits your business needs. After all, you've probably heard a lot about how Trailblazers is an employer-led program, so we're really keen to listen to you and to share ideas with you. So, in case this is the first podcast that you've listened into, let me remind you, we're now in a position where your accountancy training, whether it's CIMA, ACCA, AAT or ACA, is potentially funded by the government, and that applies to whether you have a graduate intake or whether you're recruiting school leavers. It's a little bit more complicated than that, and as we've said in the earlier lectures, we are waiting for some further details from the SFA, but that's what we're working towards. So with this in mind, how do we work with you? Well, you'll remember from our earlier discussions that the qualification for the apprenticeship includes the technical professional qualification, but the government wanted it to be wider than that. They wanted it to include a really developed range of skills and behaviours so that when that apprenticeship is complete, the individual can show that he's actually a rounded individual capable of operating effectively in the workplace. And those are valuable skills which should strengthen all of our businesses going forward. So how can we help with you? Well, the way we see it, the government have set a maximum funding band that they're prepared to fund for apprenticeships. And that will include the professional qualification, but it also includes a lot more. So it is likely to be more expensive than the old straight professional qualification would have been. So the first thing we can do with you is we can help you to design your program. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know how your systems work currently, how you're currently training your recruits, and we'll try and make sure that our program meets as many of your needs as we can. If there is a need for it, if we have a critical mass, enough students to justify laying on a particular program, we're always really happy to try and do that for you. So the first thing is to design your program, and we'll try and make that as employer-led as we can. And that could include classroom or online courses or a blended equivalent. We're able to help with any of those. We may also include some elements of weekend study if that suits your program. But remember, there is that rule that they must spend 20% of their employment hours in training of some kind. So we do have to work around that. We can help you with planning the job role because, again, if the apprentice has to show relevant skills, they're going to have to show that their employment role on a day-to-day basis supports the development of those skills. And again, that's both knowledge, so technical skills, and also sort of what we might call soft skills, being able to work effectively in the workplace. We can help you with recruitment. We're not looking at recruiting people at the higher levels, but certainly if you're recruiting people from school, we're developing an ongoing schools program. And if you want to get involved with that, or you'd like us to advertise your job to our school leavers, or you'd like to see those candidates that we've met, that we've screened, we'll give you a little report on them, a little dossier of how well they've performed. And then, of course, it's over to you to do your own interviewing and choose whether that candidate suits your business needs. Now, we talk about the programme being employer-led, and it has been, but quite often by very large employers with quite deep pockets and lots of resources and lots of internal training courses. So when they set the programme to offer those extra skills and behaviours training, then they knew that they could offer that in-house. Now, for most firms, particularly SMEs, they're not going to have the resources to do that, and they tend to buy those courses in. So what we can do is we can offer you some extra skills training, things like to develop those team working skills, office skills, commercial awareness, the ability to delegate if you're moving up towards a level 7 qualification. So what we would like to hear from you again is which qualifications, which extra skills do you want help with? What sort of courses do you want us to lay on for you? And we'll be able to do that and wrap it up within the apprenticeship funding. So again, that extra skills and behaviours, we can offer that. And you'll be able to choose from this list which of those services you need to buy from us, and we can build that into the price that we agree with you and the price that is covered by the apprenticeship funding. Now, if you already have apprentices, you'll be aware that there is a need for workplace visits to be carried out pretty much quarterly. Now, some employers don't mind these, some find them a bit of a pain in the neck. But under the new apprenticeship framework, the apprentices will be working towards developing that portfolio of evidence and that training log, which will qualify for their endpoint assessment and will also help them to become full members of their professional body. So we can use these workplace visits to help with that. We can act as a mentor to the student and we can develop their skills as we visit. So those visits become a lot more useful. Again, some firms will want regular visits and they'll want to hand over a lot of that role to First Intuition. Other firms will say, well, no, actually we have a very strong appraisal system in-house, very strong mentor system. We want quite a light touch from First Intuition. And again, we're prepared to build that into our contract with you. Next thing is supporting the gateway decision. So deciding whether that student is ready to go through the gateway. You don't want to put them through too soon because they may fail and lose their confidence. It's also quite an expensive mistake because the reset fees for that endpoint assessment are pretty big. We will mentor students once they go through that gateway, so we will help get them ready for the synoptic exam, that case study exam. There'll be extra courses for that. Remember, at the case study, they're going to be tested on exam courses that they've done over the last year or even the last 2 or 3 years. So there's a real need to help them get all that information into their head and develop the skill for the case study exam. In addition to that, you've got the interview at level 3 for AAT, which is a very scary thing for many students. And we will practice, we will help them get ready for that. We will coach them for those interview skills. Or we'll help them to write their reflective statement and develop their workplace portfolio. So again, these are things that you might want a lot of help from First Intuition, or you might want very little. You might feel that you can do this. The new apprenticeship is very much a partnership between you, the apprentice, and First Intuition. So we can work with different firms in slightly different ways, so long as we're sure that somewhere the apprentice is getting the support that they need in the way that they need. And then, of course, there's paperwork. As always, there's bound to be extra paperwork with apprenticeships. It's unfortunately one of the hazards of the scheme, and we can help you with that. We're looking at some software at the moment that will help to capture the training log, will help to capture the information about the apprentice's experience in the firm, and we'll be very happy to share this with you as well. Now, I mentioned recruitment to you earlier, and I'm really pleased with our Developing School Leavers programme. So with that in mind, here's just some details about the events we're holding. Again, if you have people who've applied for roles and you want to send them along to make sure they know what they're getting into, or if you would like to send us some information about the job roles you're offering, we're very happy to share these with our apprentices, right down to those recruitment days when we're happy to screen some apprentices and give you a little bit more information about them. So we have a Parents and Apprentices evening on the 8th of March. This is a chance for would-be apprentices, even those who may not be applying this year but possibly next year, to come and hear about our offerings and to understand what working as an apprentice might be like. And they'll have an opportunity to meet with other apprentices, some who are currently apprentices and some who have completed and are now managers. We have some taster days and recruitment days. Again, these aren't exclusively for students who are applying for their first job this year. Could be for people who are thinking that maybe they've got another year to do their A-levels and then they'd like to apply. It can also be for 16-year-olds if they're sure that, apprenticeship is what they want. They're able to start that programme, a little bit earlier if they don't want to do A-levels. So if they want to come along to these days, they just need to drop us an email and we'll get them signed up. We're also working more closely with the schools to try and develop a programme and increase awareness of the career and apprenticeship, get away from that idea that working as an accountant is a really boring job that maybe you only go into if you're incredibly good at maths and not very good with a social life. So if you want to get involved with any of that, we're always happy to hear from you. So just let us know, just drop us an email. So what happens next? Well, there's still a lot of information to come through. All those organisations are waiting for their endpoint assessments to be agreed. We're expecting to hear details both from the SFA and from the professional bodies within the next few weeks. As we get that information, we will try and get that out to you as quickly as we can. There is a register, so all training providers have to be approved. We're expecting that to come out in early March. And in between now and really April, May time, when we will have to structure our courses formally, we'll be consulting with employers to try and make sure that our apprenticeship offering really meets your business needs. So if you want to be involved in that, again, let us know. Of course, many firms have already started their September recruitment, and if you're recruiting, that's great. You might just want to warn the apprentices that their contracts may have, extra provisions to do with the apprenticeship rules. And as soon as that information is finalised and we can let you know more about that, again, we'll pass that information on to you. But that recruitment, we'll be able to sign up new apprentices, I would imagine from early summer right through to sort of mid-September. They have to be signed up before we can start them on a course. So we will delay the course start dates this year because I think it will take a while for everyone to get organised. So the course starts for the new intakes likely to be late September, early October. Now, finally, I've left our contact details on this last slide. If you have any questions, you want to get involved, please do give us a call or drop us an email. We're very happy to hear from you. Don't be afraid that your question is a silly one. Believe me, this is quite a complicated area. It takes a lot of time to get your head around it, and we're really happy to help. We always like to hear from you.